G'day dear friends and patrons. Hello, how are you? Hope all is well on your side of the fence, and we are back now with another waterfall project. We have two on the go. We have the deer waterfall and we have the bear waterfall. So now before I go any further, just to let you know how what I've been thinking about this bear and the blurry background. Blurry backgrounds aren't, they're not easy, and they're not easy to explain either, I've got to say. But let me just put the reference up, and I just wanted to have a, just so you can see. G'day Kathy, hello Pam. Can I just say, well, seeing as Kathy you're here at this time, because I can't remember which day is it that you go onto the other live stream, but I can we were doing affinity, an exercise with affinity photo yesterday with line art, and one of your questions was, how do you remove items in a background and things like that. So I just wanted to find out, if you're interested, I can maybe towards the last half hour of this session, we can go through and I can show you how to remove items or something in the background. Would you be okay with that? I just wanted to ask. G'day Pam, hello my dear, how you going? Cherry, morning, not sure how long I'll be here as making up, what is it? Flat pack units. Oh my gosh, you're a busy lady. I know that you're doing all sorts of things. All right. Now, having said that, with our project, and of course, after a session, I like to leave it sitting on the easel, or just sitting there, where I can then, like, if I move away and then come back with fresh eyes, what needs to be done. When we're talking about blurry backgrounds, it has to be probably, some people would think it's easy, but I think it's one of the most difficult things, because what does a blurry background is successful, I feel, this is in my opinion, when, for example, this is in the foreground, this is in the background. If you're looking at the reference, it's a bit hard to tell what it is, what's going on in the background. But to me, it looks like a couch, a window, perhaps maybe this is a wall. Do you know what I mean? I'm not quite sure what this could be in the background. Very hard to tell what it is. But what makes a blurry background successful is, in my opinion, when the foreground or the subject is in detail. That's when you can sort of see a depth of field, like as in photography. So, yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there to begin with. Kathy, you would like that? Excellent. All right. So when we did this last week, I let this sit on the easel, and I walk away and I'll come back, and you know what, I'm actually really satisfied with it. The only adjustment that I would like to make is to add and of course, all of these images or the references that we do here, you know what? It is a guide. It really is a guide. We're the artist. And if you want to take your painting in a different direction, by all means, this is, these projects are meant to be fun and learning little tips and tricks along the way. And that's all it really is. How you tackle it. Oh, what's this? How you tackle it is another story, but I'm here to help you and guide you. This is all I'm doing. And to give you confidence to, whatever projects that you've got lined up in your mind to do, Most definitely, this is what it's all about. Like for you to gain the confidence to do the projects that you like to do. Of course, I do these projects because they're for me they're interesting, and for you it's something different, and it's something that you're not going to. It's not your first thing to do, in other words. Okay, so having said all of that, got that all off my chest. Now with this this project, I've still got the masking film. Now this is the newer one that I've got, and it's a bit shiny now. I was told that you can this is not masking film by Expressit. It's another one. It's a Frisket, and I'm told that you can get a matte, and there are grids. So I just have to look and do a little bit more shopping, and try to find but this is actually all right. Like I'm okay with this one. This one's all right. Now when we're looking at, now I would like to show a little bit more contrast. I do have contrast, but I would like just a little bit more. I'd like to up it a little bit, but I don't want to make it too bright. So the area that I want to make it just a little bit more yellow, or I don't want yellow actually, but I want it more, I just want it just a little bit more vibrant. So what I'm going to do is the colors that I've got here are the ochre group, and I'm thinking more along the lines of, now it's interesting, not so much this, maybe the yellow ochre. Okay, all I want is just a little bit more vibrancy. Okay, so and of course I'm going to be using some brushes, and I'm just going to lightly touch it. I'm not going to do too much to it, because what I would like to do is to do to start on this side where the frame and the waterfall, and of course we're all doing it's all layering or underlayers, if we can say it like that. You're not going to believe it. 2 seconds ago I had my palette next to me. Oh for heaven's sake, Chrissy, it's right there. Jeez. Okay, so hang on, just let me get my reference up a little bit. Here we go. Okay, and I just want just a little bit more vibrancy. That's all I want. And I've got the brush that I'm using, it's very soft, and I'm lightly touching, or dabbing is probably the best word, dabbing. And of course these are all underlayers, because the water and all of what you can see in the reference, all of those droplets, that's going to be the last thing we're going to do, the last thing. So I've just got to make sure that I've got everything else where I want it to be. Yeah. And again, just picking up this yellow ochre, and so when we're talking about affinity, because there seems to be a bit of interest, so I will, from time to time, every time, just a small little exercise, and it's for those who have purchased affinity, and for those who want to design their references or their concepts, and this particular tool is a really good tool. Actually, I just see this green. It's only dab of a green, and I'm going to use Permanent Green Extra Dark here, just here, because I like that bit of green that's just showing there. Back to that program. Yeah, so you'd like to be able to design projects that you have in your mind. And so and the reason why I'm not pushing this tool, I'm not affiliated with this organization, not at all, but I know what it feels like to want to be able to, like, you've got an idea in your mind and you'd like to be able to design it somehow, or even if you see a particular reference and you just want to change it just slightly, this particular program will be able to help with just some simple steps, and we can go in as detailed or as more in depth as you want. It's all up to you. So this is yeah. And so I figure, and the reason why I'm talking about Affinity is because it is a one-off. It is a one-off charge. You don't have to pay a subscription, and the application is, it gives applications like Photoshop a good run for their money. And there's a lot of buttons and there's a lot of things to think of when you're with Photoshop, because of course it's the Rolls-Royce of the design. Most people use that. Most design companies, web designers, all kinds, graphic artists will use Photoshop and stuff like that. But Affinity, and so if you've got Photoshop or Illustrator, for example, then you're having to pay every month a subscription, whereas this one, and I tell you, correct me if I'm wrong, in Australian dollars, I think I paid, and it was on special, there was like a sale or something, and I ended up buying it, I think, was it 38 Australian dollars? Look, it's something silly like that. Okay. And then in the end, I ended up purchasing the Illustrator, and later down the track I bought the publisher, because of all of the things that I want to do with my business down the track. So designing letterheads and pamphlets and that kind of thing. So yeah. So Carol, hi there, how you going? Okay, we all admire the compositions you put together using various apps, so it would be great to learn how. Oh, look, I am so happy to teach you what I do and what I know, and you'll probably come up with something really interesting yourself, and I'll be saying, well, teach me how you did that. You know what I mean? Yes, most definitely. I would love to teach you how, how I put together concepts. Okay, there's this little bit of a red iron oxide I feel just here, and I've just, it's only slight, And of course, like every time you ask a question, every week I will do something, like how do we do this? And I will it's almost like I will dumb it down as much as possible. Definite, and go slow, all of that. Let me see, I think just that little bit is nice there. Just a little bit here. look, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to toy with that too much. I'm happy with that. The value there, around there, that's good there, that's good there. I'm happy with the way this is here. Now, as you can see, it's just one massive, just a smudge. It's just smudges of colours. That's what I'm trying to think of, a way to describe it. It's a smudge of colours. I think that's what it is. All right, so I'll just put these aside now. When I was having a really good look at what to do next, and because, okay, Carol says, yeah, affinity is well worth it. Yes, absolutely. Just need to spend time with it. I totally agree. I have a fiddle with it, and then the next time have to reteach myself again. No problem. I get that too. Like, I totally get that. Yes, and I mean, I'm like that too. You know, okay, I've done a particular activity on an app, and of course, you know, you're not going to be doing it all the time, and it's quite natural to forget. So that's why I did that with, say for example, with the line art. That's why I did those little notes. For those who don't want to purchase the books, the workbooks. And, you know, believe it or not, in the workbook, I could not find the line art bit. So that was a bit weird that I couldn't do that. So, you know, so between the book and between experimenting and between researching, we're going to get to where we want to be. All right, so back to the project. Now, because this is a frame, and I really do want a sharp edge. So if you see, when you see the reference, what I think I would like to do is just to do this little section here with the water and the running water. And what I'm going to do is not think of it as water for the time being, okay? Because you can see different values and different shapes, and it's all sort of, anyway, let's just get with the program. And what I'll do is I will just cut that bit out. It's just this bit here. And I probably might even need a ruler, but let's see how we go. So I might just need just a little bit of concentration here. I always need concentration when I'm using this blade on the paper. It doesn't matter how much experience I've had, I still am extremely careful. Because it just takes one slip, doesn't it? Up along the bear's back. Here we go. Well, that's coming off nicely, isn't it? Normally I have to fight with it sometimes. Well, that's because, you know why? Because I've got a sharp blade. That is super sharp. Yep. Okay, so I'll just put that aside just for a moment. Hang on a sec. I just wanted to close the door in my art space because there was a draft coming in. Of course, it's winter time here, 15 degrees, and I'm cold and I've got the aircon going. So anyway, mustn't complain about the weather. Okay, Kathy says, same here, Carol. I have to practice over and over. No problem. And I hope it's the way I'm doing it is simple. Okay. The notes for the line art are pinned to my board. Oh, wonderful. Okay, way more stable than me when cutting. Oh, there you go, Carol. Oh, look, I tell you, I've been doing it for such a while that I've been practicing, you see. I don't know. It's all about knowing the blade, knowing what I can get away with the surface, and knowing my pressure in my hands. And I think that's what it is. All right, so let me just, I've got my reference and I just need to, hang on. All right, now the colors that I see in the background, actually there's a few colors that I see. Okay, there are, and I will name them as I use them, but there is neutral grey. I also see neutral grey, hang on a sec, let me just, I've got powder from yesterday. It's just too much. Okay, I can see neutral grey. I can see neutral grey tint. I can also see the turquoise shade. Let me see, what else do I see? I also see yellow ochre, hang on, yellow ochre extra dark in certain bits. What else? All of these colours, and you wouldn't think that there would be these colours. Let me see, what else do I see? I think they're the ones, apart from, I'm not talking about the splash, okay? What I'm doing is my mind or my eyes are trying to break away from the splashy bits. And of course I do see a few streaks of black. We could also get away with, no, I would say black. And that's just certain bits. And there are little birds. If you didn't notice, there are certain little birds which are flying out of the waterfall and the frame and into this area. So this will be fun to do that when the time comes. So these are the colours which I feel I would like to use. So what I'll do is, let me just put my paper towel there. I'm happy with that, like that. Oh, Cherry, oh yes, sorry. I haven't had time to watch yesterday's stream, but will soon. No problem. Yep, okay. Actually, I've got a few really good references, and I did use the book that Affinity has, because I just wanted to see if I could safely recommend to you to do that exercise. But then once I did that and it worked, then I tried a few of my own references and I was so amazed. Yeah, a very good tool to have. Okay, so now I've done a few lines here which I think are important. Now these lines that I've done, and I'm not quite sure whether you can see those, they're the black lines, okay, or where I think the darker value lines are. Okay, so what I will do is, and it's only just to mark it really, I'll start off with the neutral grey extra dark. I will go darker though. All I want to do, and it's all I'm just marking, making sure that I don't lose these lines. I really would like to emphasize those lines, or just know that they're there. When I start yeah. And as well, like with a program like Affinity, I know that there are. Oh, hang on. Did I press record? Yes, I did. I know that there are so many programs out there when we're talking about a design program or a design app, whichever way you want to call it, whatever floats your boat. I'm not fussed about what it's called, but you know, when you've found a reference and you want to eliminate certain areas and add something else in, that's why this program is good. Do you know? And handy. And handy to know. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so. Okay, just a guide. Okay, this is just a guide what I've just done here. All right. I actually feel we've got neutral grey extra dark as well in here. So let's just start. And it's water, isn't it? You know, we always start with going darker and then we end up going lighter, of course. Now, like we said, this is just, you know, the reference is a guide, but we will make it look like water coming out of this frame for sure. Okay. I also feel that the turquoise green extra dark should be in here. Neutral grey, that's neutral grey. Neutral grey, what is it? Shade? Yeah. Neutral grey. And so far, I've been mixing not on my palette, but on the painting. At the moment, I'm just concerned, or not concerned, but you know, I want to be able to put you know, quite a bit of pastel down. Okay, yellow ochre extra dark, right about there. And there's a smidgen here. Little spot there, and just a little spot there. That's it. Turquoise shade. just about there. Now I know where my lines are, you see, so neutral grey, phthalo extra dark, phthalo shade, neutral grey, neutral grey shade, I've just flipped my brush around the other side, just like to blend it a little bit. Neutral grey tint. Neutral grey tint. Okay, you know what, I see just a smidgen. I'm going to use another, I'll use my smaller brushes now. Oh, where am I going? I see that turquoise blue. I see this, just this smidgen of a blue, which I really want to show. It's only teeny weeny, but I want to show that. Okay. Hang on. Just a bit of water, sorry. Okay. All right. So, I'm going to start with my darks, and then I'll work my way up to the lighter bits. Okay. And like I mentioned before, I'm blocking out, in my mind's eye, I'm blocking out the spray, okay? Because the spray is the thing that it's going to make all, like the spraying of the water is going to make all the difference. So let's just put that one aside. I do need my glassine paper to lean on. Here we go. And remember, we're not going to be afraid of going darker if we have to. Turquoise. Let's just put that. Turquoise. Shade, I beg your pardon. Okay. A thought just came into my head, and I just wanted to talk about that. A lot of the times you will see me use the raw umber extra tint to make things lighter, or to highlight values, to make things lighter. In this image, the neutral grey tint would have to be the colour that I would use to highlight, if not the titanium white. If you can see, you may not be able to see it on stream, but if you saw your pans, and if you saw your neutral grey tint and the raw umber tint, you will see how much warmer the raw umber is in comparison to the into the neutral grey tint. So when I'm looking at my reference, apart from the yellow ochre extra dark, everything else in this area is cool. Okay, so that's the reason why sometimes, like you'll see me dive for this all the time. But in this instance, definitely, I feel that the raw umber tint is too warm compared to that. In fact, I'll probably end up mixing the neutral grey tint and a bit of white. I don't want it white yet, because I want to leave the splash white, so to speak. So, and that's the reason why I'm choosing these this colour. Now, I want to create a bit of texture, so I've just picked up the neutral grey tint just for the time being, and I just want small dabs to create some texture. And I'm holding my brush, right at the very end, because I want loose and I don't want tight, how can I say it, little dabs. I want them loose. And we're going to take our time with this project, like there's no hurry. If anything, this helps us with muscle memory in painting texture. So and I'm going in the direction that the water will be falling out that way. So out of the frame, in other words, the photo frame. Turquoise, extra dark, doing the same thing. I can see that, and plus, using all of these colours give the this little section a bit of depth. Neutral grey, extra dark. I just wanted to add a few more lines and a few more strokes here that I see. Okay. All right, let's have a look. Okay, this is fine. Okay. Sorry, just getting comfortable in my chair. Okay, I don't want to do too much to it. It needs some darker areas before I leave it alone. Just for the time being. Hang on. And this is all before we use pastel pencils. I feel that we don't need pastel pencils though in this area. Looks like water. Okay, well that's cool. All right. Okay. I won't muck about with it too much. Okay, all right, so I'm going to leave this for the time being, and I'm going to go through Affinity and removing objects from a reference. So having said that, give me a moment. I'm going to move all of these things, make it easy for myself, and I'll have a look. I'll pull all of this aside and I'll have a look at how this looks. I always like to do that. Okay. Because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to rip out sounds a bit drastic, doesn't it? But no, we're going to then work on the frame. But for today, let's have a look. Okay, all right. Under layers, but yes. All right, so